because I at the end of the show I tangle up my cord and there's like a kink in the bottom. So if I move it, then it will say switching
Mm,
to stock computer. And
yeah.
then if I don't move it, it goes back to this. I just need to do it. And every show I say, "Oh, I need a new cord," and then I don't get a new cord, and then every show I say I need a new cord. So
Okay.
yes.
And I'm mental.
Bring me everyone.
What do you mean, everyone?
Welcome to Everyone Racers.
A show designed for the world of low-dollar racing and oddball car culture.
It doesn't matter what kind of Lemmy Champ or Lucky Track Dog league you run.
SCCA or NASA, we don't discriminate.
As long as you drive it hard and built it yourself.
Join us each week for tech discussion,
Tips, tricks,
As well as news and notes from the world of amateur endurance racing.
whether it's on the spot.
hella sweet,
Or we're lucky enough in Chrissy.
Chrissy,
Chrissy,
I give you just the tip.
we're sure you'll giggle a little.
And learn even less.
Everyone report to the paddock.
This is Chris.
This is Chrissy.
This is Tim,
And I'm mental.
and we are Everyone Racers. Yep, it's a kinky Mopar episode for 383, and the 383 was introduced in 1959. The Dodge version had a cross ram induction manifold and dual barrel carbs. That's as hard as it is to say as it is to tune, as an option, and it was labeled the Magnum. Meanwhile, the Plymouth version was called the Golden Commando. For the next 10 years, the 383 was a standard model Mopar performance engine. With a big bore, larger intake valves, and a relatively short stroke, it was known as a free revving and free breathing engine. By 1960, the 383 would make 330 horsepower along with 460 foot-pounds of torques. But in 1968, it was available with the 440 Magnum head, cam, and exhaust manifolds, and this engine was advertised at 335 five whole more horsepower. So with that, what you working on, Chris?
It is a name that hasn't aged well in marketing terms, is the Golden Commando. If you were to call anything the Golden Commando these days, I don't think it would get very far.
Especially
Would it? Because I feel like you could. I feel like you could market Golden Commando to certain demographics.
Certain niches,
I'll be
I
honest.
think that might be preferred.
I probably now would be more intrigued by something called the Golden Commando than I was, in the 70s. So, not saying I'd buy, but I'd listen to the sales pitch because it sounds like it's going to be funny. Somebody's naked, they're spray painted gold. Okay, I'm listening.
And it's not that at all.
It's a party.
And then you're disappointed or something?
Wow. Yep.
As opposed to Magnum, because I know everyone else thinks of prophylactics. I still think of Ferraris and, PIs that live on a estate in Hawaii.
Okay. Great. Tim, you asked what I was working on. So the MG is done except for detailing. I'm still waiting to get tires back from tire shop because the first place I went and left from there for a couple of days, they said, yeah, our machine's not really working out well with these wire wheels. So try the place down the street. So I tried the place down the street. They're willing to give it a shot. But again, trying to be in someone's good graces of doing a weird thing, said, yep, no rush. Like, next week's fine, which is this week. So, okay.
I'll give them props for admitting, hey, we tried,
right.
didn't
That
work.
was what I was just going to say.
Yeah. Well, it's our local
like
place that I use for
BFFs,
everything that I don't want to do or can't do. And they're very good at, we have a good understanding of each other, and they're all too happy to say that to me. And I'll understand. I'm like, they know I'm not going to be upset that they didn't do it. It's like, okay, we're all good.
Like my guys, but they say it with a Spanish accent.
Right. Yeah. We went and got the race car out of storage, which it was great. And over the weekend, went over the spring checklist for that, which wasn't much. It was basically new brake pads, clean the caliper slides, flush the brake fluid, get the coolant out of the cooling system for just water and like clean the glass. That's it. So it's done, ready to go. Bed the brakes, car drove great. And then we had an unexpected trailer problem. All right. And
Dun,
this is
dun,
kind of
dun.
adjusted, right? So the trailer's sitting over in the side yard all winter with the NSX in it, and it's fine, no problem. But I noticed it's looking a little low, and I think it's just the way it's kind of on a hill.
Kind of sitting in
Okay.
the mud, so like say could have
Yeah.
sailed over the winter.
Yep. So whatever. Pull the trailer out. I drive it around the block to be able to park it in my preferred spot. And then as I'm walking by, it's like, it still looks a little low. I should look at that. And sure enough, I look between the wheels on the right-hand side, and the spring shackles have completely worn through, and the leaf spring is now sitting resting against the frame of the trailer. That's it. So I drove it around the block, not being attached at the front, only at the back, which is frightening. But I don't know how long it's been this way. I assume it happened over the winter because everything drove fine when we drove home from New Hampshire and driving the race cars out to the storage. So that's the best possible time to have a suspension failure on anything, is sitting in the yard a week before you have to go anywhere, as opposed to,
in your yard, like not
Yeah.
even in the trailer park yard, like in your yard.
Yeah, right there. So I said, well, I'm not going to mess around with this. I'm going to replace all of this. So I ordered a kit that had new leaf springs and a new equalizer and new shackles and new bolts and new everything. Slapped it all together with a whole bunch of anti-seize and new U-bolts too. So anyway, it's all back together now. Didn't take all that long, but getting the whole kit was the way to go, because I didn't care of, like, if I had to cut all the rest of the bolts off, fine, cut them all off. This way they're all together. So anyway, that's our tip. Take a look at your trailer shackles. Like, really take a look at them. Maybe even unbolt one, just to see that it's not elongating that hole like it was in mine. Yep. Mental, for once, I had the janky trailer and not you. So what were you working on?
That's only because I don't have a trailer. So they just called me today, actually. So I've been fighting the battle about, negotiating my first year of emissions eligibility in Clark County, Nevada, Porsche 912. So I just got the text on the way home. He actually called and left the voicemail, but I used my camera on my phone for my webcam, so I haven't checked the voicemail yet. So I hopefully I can go pick up the 912 tomorrow, because we should have my emissions waiver process completed. And I have bemoaned my welder that I picked up at SEMA 2 years ago, because every time I meet the slightest bit of resistance, it rat nets in the wire feed where it goes into the hose. And I finally just gave up and was looking online, and the Lincoln Welder website listed one business in Las Vegas, Nevada that is capable of repairing Lincoln welders. That business is no longer in business.
Oh, of course it's not.
And okay, so I start poking around online, and I find a place in Michigan, and they send me, and I'm about to box this whole thing up and mail it to them with a description of the problems. And my wife says, that really doesn't sound right. So she just Googles link and finds Curtis Steel and Aluminum here in Nevada. And she found one of their reels on Instagram where they were saying, we service all Lincoln welders. So saving me several $100s. I actually threw the welder in the Tornado, and because it's flat floor, it fit right in the front seat. It was great. Drove it.
Everything fits in the front seat of the car. Everything.
Godzilla fits in the front seat of
It
the
had,
Tornado.
yeah, two nice little pockets to hold all your crap, and yeah, it held everything. Good.
Yeah. So I drove that up there, and Curtis Steel and Aluminum, Las Vegas, Nevada. Dude had my welder on the bench in like 10 minutes. Had it diagnosed in 20. So I bought this as a floor demo from the Lincoln Welder display at SEMA a couple of years ago. Got a great deal on it, not complaining. The entire time, it has been missing a part. It has been driving me insane, because there is a second blocking plate that goes over the top of the wire feed, and that's what keeps it from making a rat nest. And this part number doesn't exist. And the visual depiction of it does not exist on the internet, and the only reason is the repair guy just knows these welders. He's like, oh yeah, dude, you're supposed to have a plate right there. Goes and grabs one off of his floor model. He goes, yeah, but because we're a dealer, I can just call him up and get him to send me this thing. I'll just charge you the diagnostic fee. Sent me on my way. So I am finally looking to getting back to being able to weld without frustration and anger. So
Should have done this a little while ago.
Maybe.
yes, I really should have. Yeah. Just, I was convinced it was something I was doing wrong or a part that I had broken. And no, it wasn't me. I was doing everything right. And
What?
I
Who knew?
couldn't find any I couldn't find any
sure?
the instructions. None of these reference this part. There's no picture of its depiction. If you Googled it right now, you couldn't find it. The part that was missing. So, yeah.
Okay. It wasn't for a lack of trying then.
How about you, Chrissy? Yours sounds a whole lot happier than everybody else's so far.
Sure. I helped to take the car out of the trailer and I've been packing for the race. So there's a race coming up, which we'll talk about later today. And we're
You cooking?
splitting- very, very little. We're splitting camping with a whole lot of people that run their own teams, and therefore we're actually fighting over what we're going to bring. I know, it's crazy. I was like, oh, I literally don't have to bring that. Our car's going to be like empty, our truck to get there because we're doing very, very little, which is great. But here's my first plug for a potluck. There's going to be a potluck on Saturday. I think we're going to go with normal timing. Oh no, actually we decided 6, dropping food at 6. Eating at 6:30 rather than 7, which is what we usually do. So
Saturday.
Yeah. Saturday. I'm sorry, what did I say?
Well, it's consistent with being 1 hour after checkers.
Correct. So yes, that's what I've been doing. Tim, where have you been?
I was in Nolan's for the Lemons race, which was super fun. I was judging there. I've got some details on that coming up later in the recent results. But we also got to enjoy a little bit of the New Orleans culture once the checkered flag landed, and it was as you would expect in New Orleans. So hella fun. If you're going to be at Pitt this week, I'll tell you some stories. Not putting those in any sort of digital signature ever.
But you did post in one of our private conversations just a quick video. May we know which establishment that was?
All right, so I'll do a quick story. So we go out into the section of New Orleans where they're known for music, all sorts of live music and jazz, and so we were there, cocktails, having fun. We did that on Friday, and then on Saturday there is I'm sure you've all heard of Big Frida. Yeah, exactly. So being with Neil Losi and Nick Pond, they love to dive into these sort of things. They were like, well, hey, like Big Frida's playing at the Casa. We got to go. And
of course, because they're both jazz enthusiasts. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
that makes total sense.
Big Frida is not jazz. Big Frida is a 6'5" black man that's a transvestite and is they call it New Orleans bounce, and it's something to behold. So
sounds awesome.
So we go to that show, and then we're leaving after a visit to another bar, and because it's New Orleans, we're on our way back, and it's like 2:30 in the morning, and we drive by this bar that's open, and Nick's like, hey, look, that bar is made of wood. And I was like, well, we should stop. So we stopped at a bar that was made of wood. And
because what can it do?
What can it do?
What can it do? So we go in, and there are 3 people in the bar. And one of them is this older lady. She's probably in her 60s that is just blindly drunk. So we, of course, say to the bartender, can we buy her a drink? So
You're awful.
Yeah.
No.
Not
So they-
Nolans. It's
Yeah.
totally it's expected.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's
So the bartender's like, yeah, well, I said, well, what's she drinking? She said, Jägermeister. And I was like, make it a double. So then one of the other guys was like, well, I want a shot of something. And he's like, to the bartender, bartender special. This cute blonde chick or a brunette chick. And she says, all right, go to the corner of the bar. I'll make it up. So she makes up this shot and she hands him the shot and she's got a cup in her hand. And she says, are you ready? And he goes, yeah. She goes, all right, do the shot. So he takes the shot. And as soon as he comes down like this, she throws water in his face and slaps him.
Shut up. Shut up.
It was hysterical.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So that wasn't the only person that ordered that shot.
Oh,
Wow.
So
that's so great.
it was so funny.
Okay.
So,
So were you guys were down near Choptoulas? Why? I don't know why. I can't remember. It's named after a bar. That whole district down there. It's not the quarter. It's
it's
to the
west
to the yeah.
west, not West of Folia. West is west something, and it's a whole section. It's like 4 blocks away, and it's like there was a big band, like a 6-piece band playing outside. In front of like this chicken place, like on the corner, and like
I know
people are
exactly where that
stopped
is.
in traffic.
Nuts that I can't.
Yeah. So it's really, really cool, really cool spot. So super fun there. The not so fun part is just like last week when I went away for the Vegas rally, the day that I leave, my wife sends me a text and she's like, hey honey, the dishwasher's broken. So I got back. It turns out it was just, a minor clog and got that fixed up. Well, this time I go to New Orleans and she sends me a note and she's like, hey honey, the furnace isn't working. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like literally the day I leave, I was like, all right, well, turn it off and I'll deal with it when I get back. So
Frenchman, I want to say, is where you guys were.
No, it's west something.
Okay.
And I mentioned it to somebody today and he was like, oh yeah, West Ba. And I was like, that's the one. But anyway, so working on the furnace, which has got an error code, which I think is going to be the circuit board on it that I'll need to replace. But I'm gonna have to do that quick because I leave on Thursday morning to head to Pitt. So between that and a 8-week-old Velociraptor that got her first trip to the vet today. It's been chasing puppy and trying to do all the things. Like now adding to the list is repairing all the drip irrigation in the backyard that the dog has chewed up. So yeah. So we've got expected, just expected.
Yeah, but when it you're like so cute, and then puppies. Fortunately we're out of like actual kitten. We had kittens for a while. Now we're better. But yeah, when you're just like, oh, they're so cute, and then you're like, you're a terror.
Yeah, absolute like
Velociraptor.
just bleeding on my arms and hands. She's like, arr, arr. And luckily she got her nails cut today because those were like Freddy Krueger paws. She is sweet. She is just a handful.
Yeah, that's the only thing that it ends up being redeeming value when you're just like, I would like to kill you, but you're so cute.
Yeah, and she's smart. So 8 weeks, she already knows sit, she already knows shake, and she already knows lay down. And she's I'll give her a C+ on the potty training right now. So we're getting there.
Ooh, that's not great.
Tim, was it West Wego?
Yes.
I started looking at maps. What was near NOLA? And that's
yes.
West Wego.
Yeah, and there's like,
No wonder you
bar
didn't
after
remember what it
bar.
was.
Yeah, bar after bar of just live performers, and like they'll do a set, and then like they pack all their stuff up, and they'll walk like 4 doors down, and then jump in, and it's like just musicians passing in the night, and super fun, super fun. So highly recommend.
That's interesting too, because West Wego's on the West Bank, which is actually very close to ish as the crow flies to the track. So fun, super fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like
That's
20
awesome.
minute ride. Not bad at all.
Okay, ready?
Yes.
This is okay, great. We are big fans of the ND Miata and often vocal critics of Nissan, but Beverly Braga at The Drive does have an interest point for the HP junkies in the audience. For a 400 horsepower Nissan Z now costs less than Mazda Miata. As a result, some of unadvertised deals along additional dealer discounts mean you can score a Z for a mid 300. Nobody would pay that. Sorry, $30,000. While the starting price is $44,000, but Cars Direct is showing deals that cut it down to cut that down $4,000 with customer incentive and dealer cash. Get one in Bayside Blue, and that's another $2,000 off. Find one sitting on a lot for a little while, and you can bargain for even more. Car Scoops linked to one in Phoenix that was $9,000 off, priced at $36,000. Grand Touring Soft Top Miata just starts under $37,000.
That's a really good deal. So
then you
go,
own a Nissan.
No, just go lease it. Lease it.
I'm with Chrissy. Like, oh man, I get 400 horsepower, but it's a Nissan.
Just lease that thing. Dump it.
Yeah, but then you have to drive a Nissan.
That's all right.
But they got me approved.
Oh. Hey, perhaps you've noticed a recent, let's just call it a change in our economic trading policies. And if you haven't noticed, you might be surprised to hear that Jaguar Land Rover and Lotus have paused their shipments to the U.S. market in response to the now 25% tariff that has been levied on vehicles imported to the United States. Jaguar Land Rover released a statement saying, quote, "Our luxury brands have global appeal and our business is resilient. Accustomed to changing market conditions, our priorities are now delivering for our clients around the world and addressing these new U.S. trading terms." They followed this up with the announcement that JLR was, quote, "taking some short-term actions, including a shipment pause in April as we develop our mid to longer-term plans." Lotus, double impacted as a result of all of their EVs also being made in China, believe this is going to raise prices beyond what the American market consumer is willing to pay. Their press release, quote, "Lotus has temporarily paused shipments to the U.S. as we assess the situation and determine our best path forward." And link to that Hagerty article is in our show notes.
So if you are one of the 23 people that purchased a Jaguar this year, you're going to have to wait.
I've seen two of the Land Rovers in my parking lot, though. Those were big sellers. So
yeah, those
I don't know.
If you wanted a die-cast Ferrari, the case used to be that you would need to buy a bespoke version, usually from the Italian supercar maker itself. But Jeff Perez at Motor1.com has the latest on the fresh collaboration between Ferrari and Hot Wheels, resulting in the first scale model Ferraris from Mattel in nearly 10 years. The standard die-cast versions of the 365 GTB4, the F40, and SF90 are a very reasonable $1.25. The premium series featuring the 499p Modificata, the F50, and La Ferrari are $6.49, while a 250 GTO, a 642 RN2 Bartoletti Transporter Combo is available for $17.
I want that.
Yep, that's a good one.
I want that.
There's even hey, bribe hint for people. That's for
yes.
I can't get it quickly though.
I'll send you my address.
There's even a 312p and 49p Modificata for $100. The most devout tifosi can pre-order at MattelCreations.com. The rest are going to have to wait until they hit the shelves in June. Tim, what race are you judging after June so people can bring this to you?
I won't be judging again until Sonoma at the end of the year. But
Okay.
if you want to
Great.
promise it to me and then bring it in Jersey, I will gladly accept it and pretend like it was on a shipment coming from overseas.
Fell off the trailer. I don't know.
Hey,
What?
forget about it. Yeah, very cool.
Tim, can you tell us about another car that we could get that's maybe a little more useful than a Mattel
And reasonably
Ferrari?
priced.
And probably runs about this as well. Yes, what we're talking about is racingjunk.com. Yep, what we've got here is a 2000 Firebird V6 El Manuel Lemons car for $5,500. It is the 6-point Lemons legal cage. It's got the fresh 3800 V6 engine, which only has 60,000 miles on it. The transmission also has 60,000, and it comes with a spare trans and extra wheels. It's got a good front bumper, and the fender will come with the car. If you're looking for a good starter road race car, this is it. It will need new belts and fire suppression systems installed to pass tech, but it's painted red, white, and blue. So
No, that's the old Gluesticks car.
It's Gluesticks.
no tariffs for you.
And I would like to publicly shame our friend Amanda Tully for not springing for the big membership and only having 3 pictures. Come on. We would have let you use our account.
Well, if she hadn't blown up the 12th motor, she might have had the extra $20 to spare. Sorry, Amanda.
She spent that on hood pins.
Upcoming races time.
Hey, folks, Champ Car is running their cookie cutter classic at Gingerman, and in very un-Champ Car-like fashion, their entry list, not exactly all that cookie cutter. 36 cars, which at Gingerman, not terrible. That means you'll have plenty of paddock space. Only 3 BMWs, 9 Miatas, 5 Hondas, 3 Porsches, and a Fiero.
What's left?
What's left?
That's about it.
And a Mustang. I mean, like, what else?
Couple of VWs, yeah. All the interesting stuff, they don't run that at Champ. So, all your jug of Lambos, no, they're saving that baby.
I just want to say, just boring to that whole thing. But if you're going, have a great time. It's Pitt Race. We're going to talk lots about that today. 117 entries and a really good field. 19 BMWs, 800, which seems pretty high, actually. Yeah, wow.
Well, it's a reasonable ratio. It's only 15%. It's not too bad.
It is.
Yeah,
but it's still boring.
It sounds like a high number
boring.
for lemons. 19 BMWs, 8 Hondas, 8 Miatas, 7 Porsches, and more interestingly, 3 Cordobas.
Bum, bum, bum.
Which does make up for 19 BMWs. I feel like the ratio, like for every 6 BMWs, if you have a Cordoba, you're good.
3 Malibus, 3 Cobalts, 2 SSs, and a Pontiac G5 at least. 3 Volvo 240s, 4 Saturns, and a Lemons first Toyota Tacoma. Also a bunch of NA Subarus. Your Judicial Supreme Court head judge is Brian Traynor. As we said, Tim Burr will be there. Janice German and Pat Moultrie will be his junior judge advocate.
Judge in training.
Judge in training.
And
exactly.
Dante will be media.
I'm going to go ahead and say $500 my ass on a Tacoma, but cool. I'm glad they're doing something interesting with it.
I can't wait to see it, though. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
Donnie's going to be pissed. It's not him.
Race result time!
Hey, so if you're headed to Pitt this weekend, know that American Endurance Racing went over there and pre-scuffed all the pavement for you. So last weekend, they were doing that in preparation for this weekend's event. They were 3 races over the weekend. And then they had all of those together to come up with your class winner. So class 4 went to number 242 Blitzkrieg Racing, who finished second, and first, and their boring BMW. Not the point. Class 3 went to 119 OFM in a Mustang, and they had 3 first places. Class 2 was AutoWorks 737 in their boring E36, not Big Red, but they had 2 first and 1 second. And then class 1 went to Lay and Pipe in a Miata, and they had 2 first and 1 second.
Well, Lemons was at NOLA, and the overall winner went to the 112 Rusty's Racing 1990 K-swapped Miata. Now, if they didn't have such an amazing tow mater theme on that car, I would have given them hell, but car looked great. It looks like a little miniature racy version of tow mater.
And they have done the dance with that car, because that car, I remember them putting 3 engines in it one weekend. They bought a Miata and drove it back from Biloxi, Mississippi with no plates, and their chase car just keeping really close behind them in order to swap it and then blow that one up as well. So they paid their dues, man.
We'll also just throw this out there that this isn't the first K motor in their car either. So not a great record on the stunting and exploding inside the engine bay. The Class B winner went to, oh, wait a minute. Is that a leprechaun up in that tree? Say, yeah. Amateur Sketch Racing in their 1996 Chevy Camaro. That car is so hella terrible. They said to Eric Rude, there's no way we can ever compete in B. Congratulations, guys.
That's fair. How long has that car been coming to NOLA?
Oh,
gosh, probably as long as they've been racing at NOLA. They're at a Mobile. That's awesome.
Yeah. Class C went to Low Speed High Drag in their 2007 Crown Vic, which had the ride height of one of those Land Rovers we were talking about earlier. The Heroic Fix went to Slow and Stupid in their 2004 Audi A4. I'll do a quick little story on these guys. So they
fixed an Audi. That's heroic.
These guys literally work to put things into space and have things that they have designed and built on the moon. And they can't get the Audi to run. They failed in the last race. They showed up in this race. It immediately had a boost problem. They're trying to figure out what's going on with the boost issue. And while they do that, they realize that they've also blown the head gasket. So they've got an amazing video of them hooking up the compression tester gauge up to one of the cylinders, and then they crank it over. And water shoots out of one of the other cylinders like a whale's blowhole. And the camera pans over to one of the girls, and she's got this look on her face like, So, but they wrenched on that thing all day and got it running and ran. Took checkers on Saturday and ran all day on Sunday. Shortened day on Sunday, by the way. We had a little bit of lightning in the area, but we got some racing in. I got screwed, went to the Shopaholics in their 1984 BMW E30, because when you run Illumina over and over and over and over and you want to go fast, you buy a fully boxed out E30 and then don't turn a single lap all weekend. So good choice. Why don't you bring the Lumina back, boys? The special trophy was, well, look at that. 2 wrongs do make a right. So Team Lowball, they brought an 84 C4 Corvette. Bad idea. They said, hey, you know what we got? We've got a 1970s Gremlin straight 6. Bad idea. They put them both together. The car ran mostly the whole weekend. It got towed off a little bit, but they had their biggest issue was in the first lap. There you go, Team Lowball. The first lap, they put a fuel gauge in the car, which they've never had before, and they take it out on Saturday. First lap, fuel gauge shorts out their fuse box and blows like 4 fuses. They come back, they disconnect it after they come in on the hook and run for the rest of the weekend. So good job on that, boys. Judge's choice went to Too Soon Racing in their 97 VW Jetta GT, which had a Dieselgate theme per the request of Sajeev at the last race they were at. So they had a lame ass theme. He gave them a hard time and an idea, and they leaned into it. So well done. Org choice went to Rooster Racing in their 86 Porsche 944. You probably have seen Judge Kristen on there. That is her husband Gavin's team. They did a 50s fighter pilot theme. They had the 50s music going. She was walking around in a dress the whole time. They had tulips, and they were floating little boats that they made out of like styrofoam things along in the Sunday in the torrential rainstorm. So it was super cute. HMG, that was a good battle between, once again, Loose Nuts Racing. Those guys bring it, but the Event Horizon Escape Velocity crew in their 1980 Plymouth Horizon did a brown chicken, brown cow theme. And so it was a down kind of a rabbit hole. And what they said is, do you know how most porn movies start? With a pizza delivery guy. So they leaned into like the pizza delivery guy in a G-string, and they had sex dolls, and it was a lot. It was a lot. And you know, it would have been great if they might have toned it down a little bit and not won, because there were cars that were in penalty when, you know, Bob would go up there and like start twerking on the hood of their car, and the guys like, what is happening right now? Like, I didn't do anything that bad out there. I can never unsee that. So yeah, they snuck it out. But Loose Nuts did a voodoo doll theme because of New Orleans, right? So they were dressed up as a voodoo doll, and they had a big heart with the name on it, and they'd swap the names of the judges out, and they used an antenna as like a needle, so you could like stick it and it looked like it's stuck in. Like, really good. They made shrunken heads. They like nailed Neil Losi. They had this, you know, shrunken head guy with the black rim glasses that he always wears. So awesome job to those guys. It was it's tough when you can only give one person the award. IOE went to Big Rock Candy Mountain in their bone stock 2005 Toyota Camry. If it didn't have numbers on the side of it, you'd expect to see it pulling out of the local Piggly Wiggly. Thing was terrible. We gave a but terrible award out to Goldfish Racing in their 1996 BMW 328. They were in the penalty box a little bit, and on Sunday they came into the penalty box. We had a chat with the driver. He pulls away. We got another car that comes in right behind them, and their team is with them. It was actually the Dieselgate team, and the guy looks down and he picks up a brake pad off of the ground, and he's like, "Ooh, that's still hot." So I was like, "Well, I think I know who that belongs to." So I run over, and I run over to the team, and I go to the captain of the team, and I said, "Hey, I don't know for sure if it's yours, but it was still warm. That's probably yours. Like, do you have a spare you can compare and make sure it's the same size and shape?" And he was like, "Well, I think his name was John. John's in the car. He's a really good driver. Like, the brakes are a little off. Like, he'll know right away." I said, "Okay, well, off you go." And I moved on to do the next thing. Well, an hour later, the Goldfish car comes into penalty, and I walk up to the guy, and he had spun it. And I said, "So what happened? You spun it out there?" And he goes, "Yeah." I said, "How the brakes feel?" He goes, "Oh man, they've been terrible all day." He's like, "I've had to pump the brakes since the minute I got in the car." I was like, "Did you call that in and all?" He's like, No, I've just been dealing with it." So I go over to the back corner of the car, and there is no brake pad on the rear corner of the passenger side. So then I go over to the other side. I walk around the front, both sides of the front looks good. I go to the other side, and that outer pad on the driver's side was just so loose. It was just like clackety, 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 clackety. So I was like, go park this thing until you fix what's going on, because your rotor is absolutely thrashed after driving on it with no pad for an hour. So go put this thing on the trailer and figure it out. So that was absolutely but terrible. But
They must have
overall,
confused their
great week.
brake pads with turn signals. But bump. Sorry.
Yeah, they don't use either.
Oh,
Chrissy.
Okay. Listen to feedback time.
And
Oh,
then
I
it's you.
keep going. Listen to what you're working on when we're fixing our trailer. Facebook. What do we got?
all right. Tom Buswell rebuilt his dryer, and that totally counts, by the way.
Agreed.
Yep. DJ 914 was making another film with Cup of Meat Productions. This one all animated.
Randy Bish was prepping for Pitt, and he said, "We've continued to wire the new Megasquirt Subaru. It still doesn't run. None of us have ever used a Megasquirt before, and all progress made this weekend has been while zonked out of my gourd on pain meds. See you Friday."
That's about right.
Yeah,
Very much.
standard. Michael K was prepping the Flathead 6 Camaro.
Pat L was with Tim Burr and co on a wet NOLA track. As they were saying, they were working on their straight six powered 84 AMX with rag on a stick and all. He added, and who says the engine swaps are stupid.
Two wrongs do make a right, Patrick. Well done.
Bruce said, and I'm going to quote word for word on this because it's Bruce. I am working on my truck. Had to cut the dry residential bolts out. Use 10 Sawzall blades. Damn rusty GM products. Passenger side men easy.
Okay, take a deep
You've
breath
got
because
your-
there was no periods there. Okay.
If you've
Yep.
got your secret Bruce Dakota ring, get that
He
out
speaks-
now.
He speaks Laotian.
Leotian.
And Travis Brown was either building a rat's nest of wiring or sorting one in the floorboard of his car. Oh, electrons.
All right. Hey, no worries, Kevin. 3 of the folks are totally going to Pitt. And when you hear the weather, I bet you could guess which one of us is not.
Yep.
Like we
Yep.
texted Tim this weekend about the weather. NOLA said it's fine.
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 How
Everything's
did that
fine.
go, Tim? How did that go?
It was fine. I hung out in the rental car for 2.5 hours while the lightning crashed around me.
Safe there. It's okay.
Fine.
It's fine.
It's fine. It's totally fine. It's fine.
He
Ugh.
doesn't bother going out in weather when the lightning is crashing that much, so he doesn't have to hide in a rental car.
You're probably not wrong.
Yep.
Probably.
You know who would not use 10 Sawzall blades to cut damn rusty GM products, passenger side bend easy?
You know who has never continued on a racetrack when one of her brake pads fell out?
All of the above.
All are true.
Yep. Hi, Mom.
I
Okay,
guess
it's big top. Big time.
We are going to Pittsburgh. This season is starting. It's great. We love Pittsburgh. It's time to race. It's going to be fun. So we're doing our typical patented Pittsburgh preview extravaganza.
Powered by Pimanis.
Yep. Which you actually are saying correctly after being there. So good.
After
Yeah.
after probably
Practice?
the only time Randy Bish has actually been angry with me for mispronouncing it. So
As
yes.
he As he would.
Yep. So let's start off. And if you've all been here, you know the drill. You've heard these shows before, but if you've never been or you forgot because it's been a year, well, we're going to refresh your memory. When you get off of the turnpike going to Pitt, you're going to pass a very sketchy looking sex toy store on your left if you need any last minute supplies. If it's late enough in the weekend, there's a swinger club just up ahead on the right hand side in an unmarked warehouse. That's always good. Keep going up the road past several very sketchy looking motels. And eventually you're going to turn
There's
left.
a gas station. We're going to
Yeah,
talk about that
there's
later.
a gas
There's
station.
a gas
Al's
station on
Corner.
your right as you're going towards the
With a Subway and a
track.
Dollar General, because every small hole in the wall has a Dollar General.
Yep.
Past
That's about
all
it.
those, eventually there will be a sign on your right that is maybe just a 4x8 sheet of plywood that's got the Pitt Race logo on it, and it points to the left. And you turn left there, go up this hill that doesn't look correct. You're going into like a residential little neighborhood-ish. So go slowly because it's residential people, right? And just keep going up the hill. Like keep going and keep going up the hill. Eventually, you'll get to the very top, and what looks like the gate is right in front of you, but you don't go through that gate. You turn left and go through the gate on the left and go around. It's confusing the first time. So then you keep driving around and around and around until you get to the line, which is in front of the little brown guard shack. So, and there they will ask if you have filled out the waiver at a time online. When you say, what? Then they will make you do it there. If you have done it, great. They just get your name, take a picture, and you go right in. You can usually then stop at the Lemons tent before then, get your blue wristband, and everything goes smoothly. So once you get inside, you need to know where you can and cannot park, because when you pull in through the gate check, this looks like a world of pavement out there, and there is, but other people are using much of that pavement on your right hand side. Specifically, they use it for autocross and drifting and karting. So you need to go all the way kind of up past the clubhouse thing that's on the left, like where the pro shop is. And when you then you'll see another brown building right in the middle of the world. That is the central garages. Those are all booked, and they were booked on January 1st, basically. From there, you can go to the left and go way down along Pitt Road. There are a lot of spots down there, but the problem is if you get down to the end and there are none left, then you have to back your trailer up the entire way up the road, and that's no fun either. So maybe send someone down to check. You could also then go around to the right, and there's some spots around to the right side of the north garages that you can use too. There's nothing up the hill if you haven't rented a garage. Up the hill is the well, I think they're called the north garages. I don't know what the hell they're called. They're the event center garages. And the only extra spots up there are for people who have rented the garages. There's no extra room up there. So those are the good spots. If there are some power poles, those were all rented ahead of time too. They have cones out in front of them. Please don't be the jerk that parks next to the power poles and run a really long cord unless you talk to the people there, because, you know, it's a nice thing to do. And I tell you, those power poles are pricey. Let's see. I think it's about it for the paddock. Again, there is that pro shop, which is nice. They have a lot of stuff reasonably priced. There's a lot of great places to watch in the paddock, actually. After you pass the guard shack coming in, there's going to be a road on your left going down to the south paddock, which is an overflow. And there's going to be an uphill road just past the club building that brings you up to a really nice scenic elevation on top of a hill where you can see quite a lot of the track from up there. So it's a great place to watch.
God bless you, Chrissy.
I did put it on mute, right? I think.
Yep.
Yes.
You did.
Absolutely. Yes. No. He's just.
I think they heard
genuinely
it through my
being polite.
microphone.
I'm
Yeah.
Visual.
probably sorry.
Visual.
Yeah.
And
and
actually,
if you,
yeah.
pro tip, if you do decide to go to the sex shop, the owner is a really nice gentleman, but he talks a lot, so give yourself plenty of time. And
if you have never been there, Chris is not kidding about this tiny sign. There it is.
And it's not
Yeah.
lit. So if
No.
you're driving at night, all of a sudden your lights are going to come up on it, and then you're going to realize that it is right there. So
And it's and
Chris,
that's the turn. That's it. Yep. Right in the neighborhood. Yep.
hopefully there's not a tree laying across the pavement this year.
Yeah. Again.
That'd be nice.
Well, here's the stuff that the Lemon staff wants you to know and or do. Sign the damn waiver before you get to the track. It just bottlenecks up at that gate if you don't do that. Not just not you, like all your knucklehead teammates too. Like anybody in the car, get them to do it.
The thing about it, like they did this electronic waiver to make this all go smoothly. And when everyone does it, it goes so smooth. You're in like one of the fastest track entries right up until you meet the team that went the electronic what?
Well, and so the additional thing is Nik just sent it out today over email to, I think, probably all entrants, but I was going to do it in the middle of a very boring meeting, but it asked for your driver's license. So you will need to have that while you are looking at your phone, just saying. So electronic, great. If I just needed to sign and read, it's not a big deal, but you need to have some information at your fingertips. Just saying.
Yep. And the number one rule when racing with friends, don't be a dick, be a dude. Like, it's going to be pretty busy out there. 117 cars is a good size field. And as we'll get to, it's not going to be a dry weekend. So prepare yourself for that. Test day, there's a new format, finally. Now it's only going to be Lemons cars. They're actually trying to give you lots of seat time. So that's going to be 8:30 to 5:30 for the optional Friday test day. It is it's okay, $400 and $405 for a full day, $295 for a half day. You can do advanced registration, or if you wait to the last minute, like a lot of you will, the price will go up to $435 for a full day and $325 for a half day. So
I'm so glad they changed that. It was so stupid
was
for so
awful.
long, with like 20-minute sessions mixed with another run group of non-Lemons people. So like if something was wrong and you missed your session, like you missed so much time. It was awful. That's why nobody ever did it, because it was so bad. So I'm glad they listened to everyone's feedback saying, no, seriously, just open the track all day.
It was always funny though when you see the guys show up with the GT3s or the classic Corvettes or anything, and you just see them in the line. What am I getting myself into right now? Why is there? Yeah.
Yeah.
Not that we ever paid for the test day, but it was funny watching.
We did once for the Z because we had never driven it.
Yes.
Oh, well.
Well, we've got 4 judges. Preferred bribes. I'll give you a good one. How about some hot hands? It's going to be chilly, so bring a basket of hot hands. Bring some for the corner workers too. Make sure your team name and number is on there, or maybe a picture of your car, because you never know. Sometimes it's hard to see a car after they've been bribed. So I highly
give away
recommend
our
it.
secrets, Timmy.
Hey, don't do that. Come on.
We have tested how responsive their recovery team is when given cookies. And the answer is very responsive.
Well, or they were
they are
just,
on it.
There were apology cookies.
They were apology. They were reaction cookies. They weren't bribing cookies. They were don't hate us.
So
much.
sorry. Our triumph broke again. Yes.
But honestly, I think they were recovering the triumph faster because, like, sweet, we'll go get some more cookies, man.
Like trained like a dog. Well, and if you don't want to bring hot hands,
you took my weather. All right, never mind.
I'm sorry, did I?
That's all good.
So if you don't want to bring hot hands, or in addition to hot hands, apparently all 4 of the judges are whiskey drinkers. So feel free to do some of that. And don't be a bad boy or girl on the racetrack, or prepare yourself for a trip to Penalty Town. The judges have a theme. We're going to lean into it, and it is going to be great for us, but
delicious.
Not so good for you. Chris talked about this, but as a reminder, the road to the track is through a neighborhood with children and old people, and please drive slowly and be respectful. We'd like to come back there. Dress and prepare for the weather. Thursday. You want to do it?
Yeah. And
all right. I'll defer to mental, but just know that
shitty.
Pack appropriately.
It's always this is
Not the
no
worst.
surprise. This is
But
not the worst.
It's not
Yeah,
supposed to
it's
be
not.
windy, so
it's not
there
supposed
won't
to
be
snow either, which is
How about,
real
like,
good.
4,000
what-
pop-up tents broken at the end of the track.
the hail
What the
snow that we
hail?
had the one year. That
Yeah,
was
the first year I went to it, I was like,
Yeah.
going to Pittsburgh, they said. It'll be great, you said.
Yes, right. Okay, so let's talk about the facilities. Okay, so where are the restrooms? So there's restrooms in all of the garages. So there's restrooms in the center garage I don't know what they're called. The ones that are right in the middle, smack in the middle of the plant. They're nice. They're right near judging. There's some in the training center. So right as you walk up to the track, there are some in there. There are some in the north garages. They are usually pretty quiet as well, which is nice. There are some secret ones. I think there are some. I don't know that I know where they are in the new center though. In the brand new.
There's some in the pro shop area.
If you go,
Sure,
yeah, you
there's
go
some.
go through the pro shop, and they're down the hallway in the back of the shop.
Yeah, so all the restrooms are great. I think they usually put some porta potties all the way down towards the end in that long row as it runs with the track because it's pretty far away. If you're in one of those rows, you're going to be far away from restrooms. But most of them have showers, so and they're usually pretty hot and nice and everything. They're very, very clean. So yeah, take advantage. Bring your stuff. It's a nice. They have a nice facility here. Track food. So they usually have a trailer that has track food. It's very good. It's nachos and burgers. There's usually a line. I can't guarantee it's going to be open all weekend. Don't really know. I'm pretty sure it lives there. So
Usually
I don't think
it's
gonna
always
move.
there.
Yeah, so I would think they'll be open, but I'm sure there's going to be some lines because you won't be the only one going there. But really good for snacks. I don't know that they're open for dinner. I think they're only open for lunch. So
They do breakfast too. I've had a
I
breakfast sandwich from them once. It was pretty good.
okay, well they have breakfast then, and there's yes, so really good food. That should be the only place there to get it though. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Stuff around the track. So the track, as tracks are, pretty far out, as we talked about going through the tiny town. So there's not like you can go to Dunkin' Donuts, which is down the street. There is a Sheetz that is just south of the turnpike. The little gas station that we talked about, they do usually have ice. They have Keno. That's supposed to be funny. They have all kinds of drinks and stuff like that. I think they do have like a little sandwich shop in there, but don't know. And it says
They claim to have
so
pizza.
They claim
There
to have
was-
pizza.
There was something that one of the teams got there, and I'm drawing a blank on what it was. I think it was like maple something ice cream, and they were like, "You gotta go there and get the ice
Oh,
cream."
All right.
But there was something that was unique. I didn't get a chance to go to it, but they were like, "You gotta go and do that." So hop
Al's
in
Corner.
and poke around Al's Corner.
Yep, and a great place for gas as well. So there is a fuel pump at the track. They charge track prices, so be careful about that. Fueling in the hot pits, which means you might need to bring your gas really far away. So there's a significant hill when you get off of the main road to get back down to the track. There is a hill there, so you're gonna have to carefully bring your cart down the hill towards the track. Track pumps are over near karting, so karting is kind of in the middle of the world. On the way to, usually they have some autocross / burnout kind of contest there sometimes too. So depending on what's going on this weekend, if there's anything over there. And there's a shop on the outside of the track entrance road. It has a tire machine and a dyno and other services. We've never been, but apparently that's over there. So there you go.
Now, you're thinking about the schedule. Thursday on the 10th at 5 p.m., the gates are going to open. Have your driver's license, sign the electronic track waiver, have everything ready to go. Don't hog everything up. We'll talk about why in just a few seconds. On 10 p.m., those registration gates are going to close, so no armband, no entry. At Friday morning, 7 a.m., the gates and the registration open again. BS, gear, and regular tech are all going to be from noon to 5 p.m. You are assigned specific tech times. This really shouldn't be. This has been like 5 years now. This shouldn't be anything new, but
It totally works better. That's great.
It totally works better. But Tim, how many teams did you have at NOLA go? We have a time? What? Because it's usually at least 3. Yeah. So read
Tim's
your
muted.
emails.
You're
Yeah.
on mute.
Unmute,
whatever,
Tim.
Whatever you're saying is
All
really
those things you're
not-
saying.
Exactly. All right.
Oh,
Oh.
that face.
All right. At 9 p.m. Friday, those gates are going to close again, not to open again until Saturday morning at 7 a.m. Then at 9 a.m., of course, it is your mandatory driver's meeting. If you're a newbie and you're listening to this, you also need to watch the virtual meeting. There's a link on the page. We'll have a link in the notes. It'll all be fine. 9:30, you're going to grid. 10 till 5:30 is the opening race session. Sunday, 9 a.m., 4 p.m., race session 2 at 4:30 is awards. GTFO after that. But to further emphasize what's going to go on for the weekend, let's kick it over to Mental with the weather. Thank you, Mental. What we're looking at right here is now on Friday, or we'll start with Thursday. It's going to be a high of 55 with a low of 41, and almost guaranteed it's a 70% chance of rain. So we're going to be having some showers on this one. All right. So my thing isn't working. Now, come Friday morning, it's going to be only a high of 46 with a low of 39. And it is also going to be raining all day. Scattered showers in the morning with a steady rain in the evening, right as it's getting down to that 31. But don't worry, because on Saturday, right here, it's going to open up with steady showers in the morning, then giving way to cold and cloudy in the evening with a low of 38. Sunday, it's going to start out cloudy and chilly. And then right about the time the awards happen, 4:30, it's going to rise up clear with a high of 61. Back to you, Mental.
The fact that you didn't do that in a dress as Brittany was a miss.
There. Yeah. Should have prepared a little better for that one.
Costume change.
All right. Chrissy, another
What
plug
about
for the potluck?
What about the potluck?
It's the potluck. We already talked about it, but yes, bring food. Normal stuff applies. No potato salad, no half-eaten pizza. Maybe bring something fun. I think we have a bar. So a bunch of people said they're going to bring meat. Hopefully we have more than we did desserts. The one year we had like 3 tables of desserts and no food. So, but the list so far looks pretty good. If you are going to bring something, you have an idea what it is, if you could sign up, that would be fantastic, because we like to keep track of what people are bringing, and I can know that people are actually going to bring some food this time. And if you're planning on coming to eat, please bring some food. Okay, let's go.
Track walk time. Anyone has interesting thoughts on any of these corners? Say so as we're getting through it.
Okay.
There's on the Pitt Race website, and we'll put this in a link to our show notes. They have an incredibly detailed track map that actually has specific lengths of each segment of the track, of each corner and straight. It has radiuses of the corners. It has elevations for each spot. It's really the most detailed one I've ever seen that's publicly available. So take a look at it. And it tells us that radius of all turns is based on feet of the track center line. All turns are constant radius. All turns have favorable cross grade and camber, which I might beg to differ, but we'll find out. Track width is 36 feet. All right, so we're going to start talking about how do you get on track from the paddock, and then we'll backtrack a little bit to turn 1 and then work our way around the track. So from the paddock, you go past the central garages where HQ is and put those on your right for most people. And there's a upper grid area that's right by where HQ is. You then have a gate in the fence that brings you down to the lower grid area, which is pretty big, which will start stacking everybody there on Saturday morning. From there, you go onto the road onto the actual hot pits. It's a pretty good sized pit lane, plenty of room for everybody. And with between the pit lane and the upper grid and the lower grid, there's room for everybody, which is really nice. So you'll stop at the end, say hello to Dale or Ken or whoever's out there, and head out onto the track. And it's going to bring you after turn one, just before turn two, on you're going to be on driver's left coming into the track. And this is one of those tracks where the blend line really matters. Do not cross the blend line because people are coming after turn one and they are flat out because that's how they drive. And some people don't respect the blend line when they're on the track either. So they're going to be crossing into your path. So stay left until you crest the hill that is just past two at a very minimum. You've got a really long straight after that. Just stay left until you kind of find your spot in traffic before the turn 3-4 complex. It's the easiest way to do it, but just be very careful. That can be a dangerous spot.
The mayor of Penalty Town will throw you out of town if you cross the blend line, either from the hot side or from the cold side of the blend line. So do not do it.
Yep. All right. We're going to go back to the straight so we can talk through turn one. The straight is you get a good run up coming out of the turns at 18 and 19 that we'll end up with. And it's downhill for the most part until you get really close to turn one. And then it goes up over the up and then immediately crests the hill as you're going down into turn one. And this screws a lot of people up because you cannot see your way through the corner at all. And the elevation change makes it so you have lots of traction when you're braking when you're on the uphill part. But then as soon as you crest the hill, you lose all that traction again. So people do weird things there. Most people tend to overslow. Yeah, I guess you agree.
I do. Yes.
So
That's
I guess
probably
my
the
big
calmest version of what you could say people do there as well. Yeah.
yeah. There's a huge amount of runoff room and track room available to track out after you come through one. Don't just keep your eyes up and don't overslow. And there's even like a little access road really by the track out of one that gives you a little more wiggle room if you tend to push it wide. And very few people do because they end all overslow for one. So work up your speed on one. I know even I still have to work myself to do it to get a decent run through one. But if you do get a good run through one, you are then on 2,000 feet of straightaway, basically. So it really can help. All right. So you then after one, you're coming up to watch for people coming on track there. There is a hill just past two while you're still kind of turning. I'd really encourage you to get the car straight before you go over that hill because you're going fast enough that the car will get a little light and can float a little bit. So get your turning done before you crest that little hill. And then you've got a long, slightly downhill straight. Well, it goes down and then back up actually. Before the 3-4 complex. This is a great place for a lot of passing. And 3-4 is a tight left followed by a almost as tight right hand turn, or actually tighter right hand turn. Even if we look at the radius numbers, 4 is slightly tighter than 3. So 4 you turn left, you're giving away, or 3, sorry, 3 you're turning left, you're giving away 3 completely. 3 is a meaningless corner. All it does is get you from the straight to through 4. 4 you're turning back to the right. 4 does seem as though it has a little bit of off camber, but certainly you're losing elevation here through this whole section, especially as you come down through 4. So you need to late apex 4 because you're not going to have as much traction as you think coming through 4. The curbing on the inside of 4 is also very friendly. Don't be afraid to use it. It's not going to upset the car. So then coming down toward 5 is the very bottom of the hill. You are losing 80 feet of elevation between turns 3 and 5. After 4, you don't need to track all the way out unless you early apexed it. So don't early apex. You don't need to track all the way out. You kind of end up in the middle, and there's a little kind of jog to the left before turn 5. I like to stay out in the middle and then kind of line the car up with the end of that jog to prepare yourself for the turn into 5. It'll make sense. There's a spot that it kind of straightens out just enough before you get there. Aim for that spot, and that'll let you be able to carry your speed through 5 because 5 is the very bottom of a hill. It's this big right hand long sweeper that then goes up a very steep hill on the other side. If you have a Miata, you are not going to be able to maintain your speed climbing up that hill. Most cars even just barely maintain speed unless you get a lot of power.
And if you're one of these kind of students of corners, this is the one you need to study for exactly what Chris just said, because getting that turn right, getting that turn kind of right, and getting that turn wrong will result in 10, 20, or 30 miles an hour speed at the top of the next hill.
Your trip to turn 7 could be very long if you screw that up.
Yeah.
Fortunately, it's very wide, so you have plenty of room to be able to continue on with the corner after you have already apexed into 6. There's just a lot of room there. This is also a corner that I constantly have to remind myself, eyes up. I really, really like to look at the apex of 6 on this. For some reason, my eyes just go there and say, I'm not up the hill yet. I'm still going down. I look at the apex and then I don't look up. And then I am just bogged down and it just doesn't, I'm slower because I don't look up. So I would advise you to make sure your eyes are up at this corner. All the corners, but this is one that I struggle with.
Totally agree with that, Chrissy. I also remember there being some water issues down in that bottom corner.
Oh, yeah.
If it's raining. So.
Oh, yeah. There's a river across 5 because it's the lowest point in the track and it's got a big hill up around it. So you're going to ford the stream as you're crossing there. So be prepared for that too. No, those are all great points. Yeah. As soon as you come into 5 and you finish your braking, look up the hill, which is you're going to be looking up and to your right, like out of the top right corner of your windshield as your way out. And as soon as you do that, you tend to then you can get right back on the gas and power your way up that hill nicely.
There's a couple trees up there. Like, look, I find a tree and I say, go look that way. And then there's plenty of room that you know that you're not going to go off track. And it's all clear and you can see that part too.
Absolutely. But you need to be very careful climbing that hill. There is a corner worker station on the left-hand side there that you must pay attention to as you're coming up that hill, because you can't see a damn thing over the hill. It's so big. So there could be someone spun out across the road and you would have absolutely no idea. And this is one of a couple spots in this track where you must look at the corner station. This is one of the 2 really critical ones. So you've got a nice long straight, come up over the hill, you're shifting into 4th, you're going downhill again toward what we call the S's, where you've got 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, all kind of come together. And Chrissy will tell us the best way to get through these corners once you get into them. Right, Chrissy?
Yes. Eyes up and sing a little song that is modulating the gas, modulating the gas. So you don't need to brake. Well, it depends on the car that you're in, truth. Our car, typically you can take most of them. Obviously, depends on who's around. If you have 117 cars on the track and it's raining, you do need to brake, but not much probably. But consider singing the song, modulating the gas while you're in the car going through these corners.
It really works.
The first time you do it, you're going to hate and love her, because it is calming and you will take these turns perfect.
Yeah. You're going to have to brake coming into 7, obviously, after that long straight. 7 has a very, that's called a medium friendly curb. And then you're going downhill a little bit for 8. I tend to not track out 7, really. I kind of use 7 to prep for the next section. And that gets you the nice little rhythm and balance of coming through the left-hander of 8. After that, you do track out, but then go all the way back to your left for 9. But you don't track out of 9. Your track out is your apex of 9, because then you're coming up over the hill at the top of turn 10. The car is going to get really light. And a lot of people slide wide there because they can't see where the corner's going, and they turn too early and they push wide out of the side of 10. And then they overcorrect and spin off to the left between 10 and 11. I guarantee you're going to see a couple of cars crash into the wall between 10 and 11 because they do that every time. So the way to get through this is do not track out at 9 and be patient on your turn in at 10. your apex at 10 is the very, very end of the red and white curbing on your left-hand side, all the way at the end, later than you think. But if you do that, you're going to get a great run out of 10 through 11. And you can make some passes between 11 and 12 for people who did it poorly. After you come out of 10, you clip that apex at the end of the curbing, and then immediately you're looking into 11. The point you're looking for at 11 is where the track and the essentially the access road, or the part of what they used to have the north track where it joins this again. There is a triangle shaped curb at the end of the curbing. It's red. Put your two right wheels on that triangle, and you'll have it. That's your aiming point out of 10 is two right wheels on that triangle, leads you right through 11 nicely onto the straight toward 12. And you'll probably make some passes if you did it right. Okay. 12, 13, 14 are another kind of complex of turns that we'll talk about together. 12 is a basically a 90-degree right-hand turn, and it's uphill. There is a flag station at the start of 12 that you need to watch out for, and that is almost important as the one at the inside of 14. That is a must look at flag station every time. So out of 12, you're braking hard after you had your nice run from 10 through 11. I don't like tracking out through 12. You don't need to, because really the whole point of this is to get the best exit speed out of turn 14, because then you're basically carrying full throttle for, let's see, more than 2,500 feet. Right. So do whatever you need to do in 12 and 13 to get your best run out of 14. And it'll take a little fortitude to do it, but it works if you can get it to work, if you get a good run on it. So don't track out of 12, only go like halfway out at most. And same with 13, like don't track out at 13. Your track out of 13 is your apex, and it's going to be on the left-hand side, on the inside. And this is where you hit the peak of the hill, and you have to look at this flag station as you're coming up between 12 and 13. Look up at this flag station, because you can't see anything, and you are full sending it over a blind hill that people spin out on not irregularly, or they go.
Give me one
please.
quick thing while you keep talking, Chris.
Yeah.
Behold, flag station.
Yes, it is important.
Go back to your share. Sorry. Thank you.
No problem. Yeah. If you remember one thing from this, it's look at that flag station. That is the most important thing I can say.
Like a bunch of them. There are a couple of places where we get down to 17, which is where we're getting to. That there's a bunch of places on the track that you really need to know, because they obviously can see things you can't ahead of you. And there's a lot of cars.
Yeah, 14 and between 6 and 7 are the most important ones. Those are the blind hills,
and they're fast. Like you are bringing the mail through this section of the track.
Yeah. So 14, you're coming around over the hill. It is a blind crest to the right. It feels off camera, but it's definitely going down, so you have less traction than you're used to. The curbing on the right-hand side of the apex of 14 is very friendly. Do not be shy about putting your two right side tires on that. And late apex, because it's safer, and you will have a better run out of 14. If you late apex too, you're also going to have an easier time getting back to the right for the kink at 15. Now, these two kinks, 15 and 16, don't look all that significant here, but they are on track. And it always seems to be that 15, even though you might try to plan it to not be passing someone right at 15, it ends up happening more often than not. So if you can ease off on your speed a little bit to not be passing in the kink, that's nice. But sometimes you just have to do it, but it slows everyone down. Then you get a long... Oh, go ahead.
You might also be getting passed when you're not expecting right there as well.
Yeah. Because if someone else got a really good run out of 14, they're coming up on you. Then you got a long straight.
One quick tip on exiting 14. I noticed that a lot of people on the exit would sharpen off that their exit. Like don't you don't have to like immediately swing back to the right side of the track to set up for 15. Like use all of the track to the left on the exit. You'll have plenty of time to get set up for 15. A couple of times that I saw people try to do that, they pinched the exit too much and then just tank slapped it all the way through 15.
Oh, it's a very popular place for spin because of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good point, Tim. All right. So in between 15 and 16, you've got a 1,200-foot straightaway. That's a great place to get things sorted out. Be mindful of traffic around you because you might be looking all the way down towards 16 and 17, but someone else behind you might have a whole heck of a lot of a head of steam coming into 16. And 16 is not a corner I think you should go too wide into. I think it's not the best. Really get yourself sorted before 16. If you have a sticky car in the dry, that's not too fast, you can take 16 flat and then brake after 16. I've only done that a couple times and it was exciting. Usually I give a little bit of a lift going into 16, not all the way, just a partial lift to kind of start to settle the nose a little bit to have traction there because you're growing one of the fastest spots on this track at that time. And if you go wide out of 16, you're just in the grass. And if it's been raining, the grass is extraordinarily slick and you will just keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going. And there are walls out there and they hurt. And I've seen people go off at 16 and be off all the way past 17, all the way up the hill, like to the fence by the water tower.
Yeah.
Like way up. Like,
And
how did you even get there?
The one time time they had that is that you get beached up there and the trucks won't pull in to be able to pull you all the way out because then they're going to get stuck. So if you go that far, you end up with bigger problems and then you're inconveniencing everybody on the track.
You're going to have a bad time. So,
and the people that are trying to save you, bad time.
No passing in 16, late apex, so you're not putting two wheels off after the turn because you're never getting back to it. And on a rainy weekend like this one, there's going to be a lot of dirt on the track before 17
weekend
from all the people coming back on track. So don't do that. All right. So between 16 and 17, you're probably going to be doing a whole lot of braking, really hard braking. Okay. So is everyone else around there? We're then going to be going around 17, which is a tight right-hander, which is off camber. There are some patches on it. I like to be on the patches, like the black patches. I think they have a little more grip, but don't pinch 17 on your way out. There's a lot of room to let the car drift out to your left as you're tracking out. You just want to keep up the best speed you can. And too many people just pinch the corner and they lose a lot of speed. And it was a shame because now you've got another 2,000 feet of straightaway ahead of you that you're missing out on. So,
and you're going uphill.
Yep, absolutely. So let the car drift out wide toward 18. 17 and 18 are kind of one big corner. Frankly, that's how you treat them. And you go off track after 18 back into the pits. So just be mindful of people who are doing that. If you are continuing on track, you go toward 19, you just apex right where there's a little sign there, right where the pit in is, and you can just go right through there full out. Yes, Chrissy.
I'm sorry, I was doing a thing. I'm not sure if you mentioned this, but another habit that I tend to have is not to use the whole track. And this is, of course, if it's ideal and not with 117 cars coming out of 17 into 18 and 19. I have a tendency of trying to pinch in, but the track out is really nice in 18. So it flows really well. Did you talk about this?
Yep, it's almost exactly what I said.
I apologize. I
good,
confirmed
no problem.
that you did a great job.
You confirmed. Yep. Thanks.
Guys are always on the same page.
Sorry.
Yep. So then you power through 19. It's easy. Then you're back on the straight. Start finishes on that straight. Get yourself sorted because now you're back at 1 with that weird hill. So.
Okay.
There we go.
I was just typing with mental during this race on Saturday, maybe Saturday and Sunday, but at least Saturday, they do a rolling lunch.
Oh
delivery.
yeah. I forgot that.
I just thought about this, and so they'll do a double yellow. It's not at 12 o'clock. It's at a random time. They'll do a double yellow, and then you will be very confused as to why you have a double yellow, and it will continue on forever until you realize that there is a truck or two. I think they usually do two trucks, and they deliver lunches to all of the corner workers during the race. It's the only place in the whole United States that I've ever seen that they do this during a race.
DoorDash.
So, right?
Pretty much.
And you couldn't bring a sandwich with you? Come on. I'm like, I fail to understand how this is a thing. It usually feels really long, especially like if you're in the groove and you're racing and you're like, I'm doing great. And all of a sudden there's this double yellow for good. I don't even know.
Or is it an
Everyone says-
opportunity for great strategy?
Yes,
It
it
is.
Yeah,
is.
sure. But
But you never know exactly when it's going to be.
that's what I'm saying. It's not directly at
But
12
you've got
o'clock.
it there. Maybe
Uh-huh.
your spotter's over here watching over by the headquarters, and he sees him carrying a bunch of bags out to the truck. Okay, I'm going to need you to be in the car just a little bit longer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone else, get the fuel ready. We know exactly when we're doing our next pit stop.
Well, you're going to have a
Yep.
lunchtime sometime.
Oh, I have no doubt there's going to be plenty of yellows based on a wet track here and people going off. Like I can already tell you the 3 or 4 spots people are going to crash. So
And I have some penalties lined up for you folks. I can't wait.
excellent.
I'm really troubled because 2 of you guys like just worked. No, you and Neil. Okay, yeah, but man, yeah, you and Brian together. Oh gosh,
He's
Man.
creative. He and I have a good time coming up with stuff together.
yeah, that's
It's-
gonna be. Watch our socials because it's gonna be funny if you're not there.
OMG.
If you're not there.
Yeah. Fun things happen in Penalty Town, folks.
Ah.
All right. Anything else to add on the track walk?
No, you nailed it.
Usual. Nailed it.
Pretty much, yeah.
I like this track. This is a good track.
It really
80%
is.
cold,
Yeah.
40% party. It's great.
We have
Mhm.
so many miles on this track. So many.
And if you've never
But
been,
it's-
it really is an absolutely wonderful facility. I mean, the buildings are nice. The
Yep.
the staff is nice. If you get bored, go karting. That's a fun little goofy go-kart track over
Mhm.
there. It's a great time. It you don't expect it. You're like, driving through, hokey mountain town, and then you drive through like neighborhood, and then bam, world-class racing facility.
Racetrack.
Yeah. Yeah. Highly 5 stars. Would recommend.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Cool. All right. Well, we'll see you there, guys. Everybody.
Check your
what's next?
trailers. Yeah, check
Yes.
your trailers.
So
Well,
is it time
that's-
for?
Oh, is it? Oh, is that what you're trying to lead into here?
Is it time for?
Just the
We already talked about this. Trailers are janky. Most people's trailers are extra janky. Mine are usually less janky, but mine broke too. So check your trailers, people. The shackles, they wear out, especially because when's the last time you greased any of that stuff? You said, what? Okay. That's the answers the question right there. It's not particularly expensive to buy new shackles. Actually, I'm keeping a couple of the old ones that I took off the trailer and a couple bolts, and those are going in the trailer just in case for the future. Yep. So just
the phrase you said on the Facebook post. Whole lot better to do it in your driveway than on the side of the road because it's going to be raining on Thursday and you don't want to do this.
Yeah. Man, that would have been miserable. Don't do
Yes.
that. Ugh.
That
That's all.
I've been so spoiled by living out here. That's one of those. Nah, not going. Nope.
Well, that wasn't a rust thing.
No, that's
No,
just
I'm saying,
oblonged
but-
out.
To where?
I'm
Yeah.
just saying. No, not the rust thing. I'm just saying. It's cold. It's 40. It's like 38 degrees. It's raining. The trailer shackle breaks halfway to the track. Nope. Dropping the trailer off at a repair shop. I'm checking into the Comfort Inn. I'm not going. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah. Oh, yep. Check your trailers. I mean, everyone,
Yeah.
people don't even check their wheel bearings or adjust their brakes or any of those things. Like, this is one step up, but no one ever has a good time with a broken trailer. Ever.
Especially if you're trying to get there on time before
Yeah.
they close and
Or on the way home when you're exhausted and hungover
Yeah.
and smelly. Yeah.
Check it now. Like, don't wait until Thursday. Check it now. And if it is bad, like, pull up to somebody at a traffic light and see if they'll swap with you.
That works. Especially in the middle of the night. Yep.
Totally. 11:30.
And then you get
just
home and
outside
you
of a
realize
military
you just got a
installation.
moon trailer.
How
It
am I going to get
worked.
my car on this thing?
It worked. It did the job. And you know what? Did not leave me stranded on the side of the road once. And the kid that bought it also did not leave him stranded on the side of the road.
Yet.
Your delivery was really good on that one.
Ah.
All right, let's do this.
What are we doing next week?
I don't know.
We're going to be hungover from Pitt, so we're going to talk about it. Duh.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Yes, we are.
All right,
Fantastic.
All right. Well, get your homemade potato salad ready.
No.
Homemade.
Homemade is okay.
Homemade.
You just can't buy the bucket
Add
with
bacon,
the
please.
loads of stuff in it. And
Yeah, Corey's bringing that, so don't. That's
I
already
heard.
on the list.
No, don't do it.
5-gallon buckets or homemade. All right.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
I feel like this is literally the beginning of one of those Dateline episodes. Chrissy was a normal person. She worked hard, was respected at her work, but one day pushed to her edge by potato salad.
Dun,
Or
dun.
on Dateline.
Thanks for downloading us. We hope you enjoyed this week's edition of Everyone Racers. We also hope you will join us in the world of driving, racing, and building, because everyone can be a racer, even you. If you enjoyed this podcast, subscribe. It's totally free. Then go to iTunes and give us a 5-star rating. Even if you hated us, give us 5 stars and tell us why. If you have any questions or show ideas, drop us a comment on our Facebook page, Everyone Racers, or email us at everyone.racers@gmail.com. You can still text us at 484-243-0455. Find us on Instagram at everyone.racers, YouTube and Facebook under Everyone Racers, or even Reddit at /E1R. Thanks again, and until next week, keep the shiny side up, unless, like us, there is no shiny side, then just keep those wheels down.